Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Wow, 4 wins in a row. Who's this Northernlion guy? He must be pretty good. No! Okay, actually, this is Lazarus is fine. It's Azazel. Azazel that makes me say no. Okay, easy. Here's the thing. I got a theory for you. Why even shoot against Envy? If you shoot, you're just going to extinguish the fires. I don't want to extinguish the fires. I'm going to let him kill himself on the fires. And then after this, can somebody please check the amount of time it took me to kill Envy the last time we verped a verp. Oh my god. Versus this time. Because I wouldn't be surprised if it was only slightly slower to actually shoot versus this Envy on that tiny room. Don't ever hit me again. I don't give you my permission to inflict physical harm and or malice on me, game. We've been in this a long time, you and I. Yo, pause button is pretty great. Hold on. I can already tell it's a little warm in here. I'm going to AC up a little bit. Just a little hot. And I can tell it's a little hot because I'm freshly shorn. You know, I shaved the other day. I've gotten to the point of dereliction of duty when it comes to shaving. I don't even want a tinted rock. I want the stone chest first. And I know I've gotten to that point because now when I shave, you know, it's the winter time. I go outside and I'm like, oh, it's cold. And Kate's like, it's not that cold. You just don't have hair on your face anymore. And I'm like, oh, that's right. So if I'm warm while freshly shorn, that means we've gone through some stuff. You know, it's a hot one. Like 7 inches from the midday sun. It's called pop music. Look it up, sweetheart. I'm worried, you know, that I might have a bad day in Isaac today. Let me explain why. Weird flex, but I was in the gym earlier today. And speaking of weird flexes, I was doing a move known as a sitting tricep extension with a dumbbell. So you sit in a bench at an 80 or 90 degree angle. I mean, you might be saying 80 degrees. Where did this guy get his, where did he get his mathematics degree? I don't have a mathematics degree. I have the grade 11 music award and a Bachelor of Science in Biology. But a 90 degree angle on a bench is not very nice for your back. You know, it's still a little bit, you know, you're sitting straight up. You're a degree away from starting to hunch or fall forward. So a little bit of a, you know, a 10 degree period. Anyway, you get the idea. You don't need me to tell you this, I'm sure, over and over. I've got an idea. It did not work. I thought if we paused it, maybe the bomb would pause too, and I could push it into Little Horn. Anyway, so you take the dumbbell, you put it over your head, you your arms are bent at a, you know, roughly 80 degree angle behind your head, and then you raise them, and it works out, you know, the muscles in the back of your arm, aka your triceptual muscles. I did it with a dumbbell, straightened my arms, conk, hit myself in the back of the head with the weighted part of the dumbbell. And I said to myself, I just lose some brain stems. Wait a minute, that's not what you lose. Some brain cells. You want to come in, Tomo? I'm gonna pretend that the cat was at the door and I didn't just hear something that didn't exist, apparently. And then I thought, you know what? It's hard to lose that which has never existed in the first place. So I don't actually think I've created an injury for myself. I did think temporarily. I was like, you know, maybe I should. I mean, what do you do? Like when you burn your hand. Maybe we should have died as Lazarus first here, but when you burn your hand, you know, you run cold water on it, you can get a topical cream, etc., etc. When you hit your head, you're just, I mean, you're stuck, right? What are you supposed to do? It's not like you can unhit your head. What I'm trying to say is I've recently become aware of the plight of chronic cranial trauma encephalopathy. Is that it? And, you know, it happens to professional athletes, and video games are athletical now as a result of the rise of esports. So, where's my Players Association to give me my pension and to protect me in my time of great need? Now, I did get hit. I don't want to talk about it because it reflects poorly on me. So as a result, if you could all mind your own business in my time of need, especially as I recover from this injury and go through a period of convalescence, that would be very nice. If you were not a coward, you would give me famine and let me get a cube of meat and then steamroll. I'm very sick, okay? I have a headache that might be related to having hit my head slightly with a dumbbell earlier. I didn't mention the weight of the dumbbell because I don't want you to either be concerned, like, oh, that's a heavy weight, or alternatively be like, this bro's only doing a tricep extension with a 35-pound dumbbell. Look, okay, you gotta start somewhere. No deal with the devil. It's fine. The deal with the devil is undeserved. Just trying to see if we can get to 2 keys or 15 cents. That'll determine the way that we approach the rest of the floor. I am, of course, happy to have gotten a tiers upgrade. I'm going to go to our curse room. We got all sorts of other things we can fill our time with now. I don't think I'm actually concussed. I'm pretty sure I just had too much or too little caffeine today, and I'm willing to let that ride. Caffeine's a fickle beast. You know, I know I'm let's go see what's going on in our curse room first. I'm opening myself up to a lot of internet mansplaining. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? That's what it's called. I didn't invent it just now. And if I did, every time you said the word, you're gonna owe me, I'm gonna say 7 cents. That's how it works, right? You can set the rules there. But every time, you know, you say something controversial on the internet, like drugs are bad, there's always somebody that's like, excuse me, caffeine is a drug, and you drink coffee, right? Well, when I said that, I didn't mean anything that's a chemical that you put in your body. Let's be honest. I meant the big ones. You know, your heroines, your fentanyls, your crocodiles, your crystal meths, etc., etc. I don't know why we have to get so pedantic about it, but here's the thing. Caffeine does carry negatives. I'll be the first one to tell you, before you get involved in the reckless art of caffeine consumption, you should be aware of the consequences. What are the side effects and the downsides of caffeine? If you drink too much, you get a headache. If you drink too much, you know, sweating a little bit, heart rate increase, maybe some jitters, and some nausea. This could also, and I'm not trying to be overly pedantic myself, could describe one too many trips back to the buffet. The other downside, the real actual downside to caffeine, is meeting your friends somewhere and then having not had a cup of coffee that morning and be like, hey, before we go to the museum, you guys want to get like a cup of coffee or something? And they're like, nah, I'm not really, you know, I already had my coffee this morning. I'd really like to go to the museum before the exhibit. Well, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee. You guys go to the museum. And they're like, bro, why are you being so... Wait, are you on caffeine right now? Let me see your pupils. Let me see your hands. Hold this weight in your hands. He's shaking. It's not even a 40-pound dumbbell. No, I'm not. I mean, I just did tricep extensions yesterday. My arms are sore. I can't. A likely story. Look at you. You expect me to believe that you were in the gymnasium? Your mother and I warned you about the dangers of caffeine. The mild irritation that comes with having not consumed 1 to 2 cups of it. Is this the boy we raised? Is this the boy we raised? No, mother. I'm a man now. And I can drink caffeine if I want. Where am I going with this? I don't know. I didn't really think about it too hard. I'm just saying, it's not one of the big drugs. I would never advocate use of one of those. Not even in a satirical fashion, because the jury's still out on, like, you know, if I made a video and I said, eat glass. If somebody eats glass, do I go to jail for murder? I haven't figured it out yet. I mean, man, if they can pin those murders on Ted Bundy, like, we should all be worried. See, that's a joke. Apparently, I saw... Every once in a while, I see things on Twitter that make me want to quit the internet. And I don't even mean in, like, an OMG, I literally can't even right now. I mean, like, literally, like, maybe the internet is actually cognitively harmful. And I know that's like a, you know, it's kind of a edgy take, but apparently since the Ted Bundy documentary came out, there are people And this shouldn't surprise me, but there are people who watched it and went, he's cute, I have a crush on him, even though, you know, spoilers, my man's is dead, courtesy of the state of Florida. And his own actions, I might add. But anyway, so there's like a weird subculture of people who quote-unquote stan Ted Bundy, which is obviously idiotic, of course. You know, I know that the culture, or it's a weird like psychological phenomenon of fetishizing serial killers has existed forever. It's not a recent internet thing. Here's what made me want to quit the internet, was they had a beef with people on Twitter who stan Venom. That's right, the Marvel anti-hero. Venom, the symbiote suit from Planet Venom. I don't know what planet it's from. Let's be honest, it's either Venom or Planet X, right? So there was a full-on, and I don't know how many people were involved, but a flame war between fans of, you know, revisionist history Ted Bundy, because he had, you know, good facial bone structure, and the Marvel hero / anti-hero known as Venom. What were they arguing about? Who cares at all? This, like, I don't, oh my god, my deal with the devil is very sick. Actually, we still have a chance. I don't say this to be super dismissive, but if there was ever a time when you could say, who cares, and don't you people have other stuff to worry about, like, isn't that time right now? When fans of a serial killer are arguing with fans of a comic book villain on the internet. Isn't there just like, and again, you can do whatever you want in your downtime. If you finish your day at the Twitter mines and your wife goes, honey, how was your day? You went, oh, it's thrilling. There's nothing compares to the thrill of battle, my darling. Me and the other, and I'm actually, if I had to side with anybody, obviously it would be the Venomites, because of course, you know, the other guy's Ted Bundy. It's a pretty easy choice. Actually, if you were to look at the body counts, Venom has compromised a lot of people himself, and that's ignoring the opportunity cost of when Venom takes control of Peter Parker and, you know, forces him to shirk his other duties of being the man who could save other individuals in New York City. Ill-advised and poorly timed Woody Allen impression. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be back in 2012. Okay, what do we got here? I hurt myself today. That's just the kind of stuff that, like, it's like when people who are fans of, like, a TV show argue with people who are fans of another TV show online, and then I'm like, it's okay, you're 12. And then I click on their name, and they're like, I work at the bank. And I'm like, really? I'm not saying you should spend all your time looking at amortization tables and stuff like that, but, you know, and again, you could care about media. Sometimes after Game of Thrones episodes, you know, in the last season, I went into Robert's Discord, and I said, bro, what do you think about this theory? And people were like, that's stupid, and you're like, you know, you're right. It was pretty dumb. I'm just saying, you know, when you get actually to the point of impassioned argument about it, it's a fictional media property, like, surely there's something more fulfilling. I'm not saying I'm annoyed by the fandom. I'm saying, rather, I feel like at that level it might be slightly destructive. Regardless. So that was what was on my mind today. I've been talking about that Ted Bundy documentary a lot. It's very interesting. I still think people are very short-sighted when they call the documentary problematic just because multiple times they mention that Ted Bundy is handsome. Whether you think he is or it isn't doesn't matter. But again, if you didn't see the other Isaac episode, I'm just here to tell you. Any cautionary tale that teaches you not to trust hunks is A-okay in my book. We got a weird run here. Good on paper. Bad on flooded caves. Okay, you can do this. There you go. You created the space. You got them all lined up. Also, I mean, it doesn't need to be said. And I do shy away from saying things that I think are obvious. I find it... One of the things that annoys me, and again, I will always say this is not meant from a place of tearing anybody down. But one of the things that annoys me sometimes is moralizing from other content creators. And I'm not saying, like, you can't tell people how to live their lives unless you also are perfect. But sometimes I find there's just a little bit too much, like, something horrible will happen and a streamer will tweet, like, hey, don't do that. And you're like, yeah, I know. Don't do murder. Everybody knows that. Anybody who doesn't is... They're not going to see the tweet from the streamer and be like, okay, oh, you know, Northernlion doesn't like it, so I'm not going to murder people anymore. It's just like, you know, you're just sending the message out there that, like, yeah, I know what's acceptable behavior. So do I. That's why I'm shying away from what I'm about to say, which is that murder is sometimes... No, that's not where I'm going. All I'm going to say is, you know, it should be obvious, but if it's not, and for some reason you find yourself watching the Ted Bundy documentary, and you're like, hey, this guy he didn't get a fair shake. He wanted to represent himself, and the judge agreed. It's all been rigged from the start. You know, just check yourself and be like, is that really where I want to be? I want to be, I mean, especially, you know, given that later in his life he actually confessed, and, you know, there was overwhelming physical evidence in the first place of all this stuff happening. If you find yourself being like, yeah, but he's got like a good brow line or something like that, just friggin' stop. That's very dumb. You can tell that opinion to me, because I'm a steel trap, you know? It's like the end of In the Mood for Love, that very famous 2002 Wong Kar-wai film that I have not seen, starring Tony Leung, and, you know, I've read the Wikipedia synopsis many times, because it did win the Palme d'Or at Cannes that year. You know, you whisper that terrible admission into a hole, and then you seal it up at Angkor Wat. And, you know, what did he whisper at the end? Probably the same thing that Scarlett Johansson said to Bill Murray. She whispered, "Why TF my PP hard?" I didn't take much pleasure in saying that. I mean, it's a spoiler, but, you know, sometimes it's gotta be done. Where was I going with this? You can tell it to me. Don't tell it to anybody else. Because if you talk to anybody else and you go, hey, I was watching that Ted Bundy documentary, I feel like that guy got kind of a bad rap. Everybody's going to be like, oh, really? Okay, cool. And then they're never going to talk to you again because you're being a freaking weirdo, okay? Just cool. I get, you can be fascinated with serial killers, right? Like I watched, can't remember, it might have been a Dark Tourism episode. Or it was some kind of true crime show on Netflix, as, you know, you might expect from the fact that that's most of what I watch. This woman was obsessed with the crimes of Jeffrey Dahmer. You know, I mean, we don't even need to go to the shop. What am I doing here? She was obsessed with the crimes of Jeffrey Dahmer. She knew everything about the crimes of Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, noted cannibal and serial killer. And, you know, when people would ask her about it, she'd be like, oh, yeah, that was victim blah, blah, and this is what happened there. But you know what she never said is like, oh, yeah, if he was alive now, I'd do him. You know? Maybe she thought that, but she kept it to herself because she's a sane and rational individual. Anyway, this is... if I could distill what... And I love the internet as a free and open platform for communication. If I could distill what annoys me about the internet sometimes... into one hypothetical straw man that I'm gonna draw upon right now to make my own case look better. It is that people are gonna be like, well, NL, are you kink shaming the people who want to have intercourse with serial killers? You know what? If I have to be the bad guy for that, okay. I will be the kink shamer there. You shouldn't be giving those kind of favors to your Theodore Bundys, okay? Your Charlie Mansons. Shouldn't be giving them to me either. I'm a married man. You should find your soulmate and give it to them. Unless your soulmate is a serial killer, in which case meet them early before they even start with that stuff and tell them to knock it the F off. For, you know, a net good for mankind. Anyway. As Verp, like literally we've just been verping Verp. I like to verp it. I like to verp it. I like to verp it. You like to Ruka. He's asleep, but I don't know why in my head I was like 100% sure he was gonna wake up and go, Verp it. Gung, 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 gung. The reason I love the internet is because many people are going to reply to this rant and go, NL, you gotta see In the Mood for Love. It's Wong Kar-wai's best film. To which I reply, you hit me so hard. Like a Wong Kar-wai beginning, I'm exploding in sparks, my equilibrium's spinning. Of Montreal. 2005. It's called Music. Look it up, sweetheart. 2005 was the year I got into that band, but in reality, now that I'm thinking about it, that song's probably from like 2001. A Space Odyssey. Another classic film. This one I have seen because it has spaceships in it. If a movie has a spaceship in it, I am 20 times more likely to make the effort to see it in a theater. You know why? Because spaceships are cool. That's why I haven't seen the Cate Blanchett film Carol yet. No spaceship. Sure, it's a touching story about perhaps forbidden love in a beautifully shot, recent historical version of New York City. But at no point does a cool-looking spaceship that maybe it looks like a Stingray or something like that, but weirdly like multi-dimensional, and it comes down, and you know, a little gangplank comes out, and you know, an alien comes out that looks suspiciously just like a Hollywood actor in green makeup with forehead wrinkles. Comes out and goes, people of Earth, you know, if they just had that, even in the background, you know, Cate Blanchett is walking through the Macy's department store on 5th Avenue in Manhattan. In the background, you just see a spaceship land, you know? That would get me into the theater. It would. I'm easy like that. And I'd be like, Carol! That's right, I'm familiar with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as well. Read the Wikipedia synopsis. So, I'm not suggesting that we have had the most horrible run in Isaac history, and a lot of the damage you take and a lot of the precedent, or at least the chances of getting into the deal with the devil that we've lost, are a result of me being a moron. I can't say that those were not my fault. However, we've had a lot of item rooms that have been a little bit... It's the sound of some nails on a chalkboard. I would prefer not to use algaes right away, but if you gotta do it, you gotta do it. I'll go pretty low first. Okay? I think the next step... Missing page 2 is obviously not what we wanted. Okay, I will do this room. The next step... Whoa, baby, I love my way. I want cricket's head every day. Almost hit a note there. This is a little scary. Dude, I got another, I've never eaten this cheese before in my life, so tell me if this ad campaign is off base. And, you know, the great board of British cheeses, if you want to talk to me, my rates are lower than they've ever been. It's January, okay? You ready? Ooh, how I love halloumi. I want halloumi with every day, every day. Ooh, halloumi is a good day. Sorry, I'm doing a little solfege right now, trying to figure it out. Ooh, the best cheese is halloumi, halloumi. Can we start with the fried halloumi? I know it's not pronounced halloumi, that's the problem. Peter Frampton? More like Peter... More like Dairy... You know what? Peter Frampton, great artist. Don't want to besmirch his name by trying to come up with a pun, even though it would be very easy to do so. I will... check this out. Ooh, baby, I love your breed. It's even better than halloumis. There we go. Halloumi board. Pay me 35 Great British Pounds before this time next week, or I'm gonna release my schmear campaign. I told you it would have been easy. We're a Matryoshka doll in humor here. We gotta, you know, pull a Leonardo DiCaprio, surface from the nests, and bring us back to the base level, the ground floor, the waking world. There we go. I'm running out, and it happens all the time. I'm running out of true crime stories on Netflix. This is maybe gonna sound a little ridiculous. Don't even mention that, Dodge. I do that every day, and it's easy. I am gonna go to the shop, though. I produce, like, 3 videos a day, sometimes more, Twitch highlights, etc., etc. Like, 3 videos recorded specifically for YouTube, and then Twitch highlights, the occasional bespoke video, although admittedly rarer. Why is it so hard for Netflix to produce, I don't know, like 15 true crime documentaries a day? I'm not even joking. Like, Netflix is not a dude. And there's already... It doesn't even have to be like, you know... You don't have to make them. You could just buy ones that have already existed and then put them on your platform. I already have access to your platform. Why is it that it's only like once a month that there's a great dark true crime drama on Netflix? There should be more. I know I sound entitled right now. You bet I'm entitled, buddy. I'm paying 13 bucks a month. That's the cost of a combo meal at Shake Shack. I demand hours and hours of well-produced entertainment. It just seems like, you know, we're at the end of January, and everybody's still, you know, cracking jokes about tidying up starring Marie Kondo, okay? There should be like a new Netflix original making waves, right, 3 times a week. It might seem like there is right now, but I promise you it's 2 times a week, 2.5 at most. All right, let me open the door. It's still a little hot in here. Don't you agree, Ruka? Yeah, I mean, cats can't sweat, but if he could, he'd be sweating right now. Should I have taken Death's List? What a fantastic question. Probably not. But this run is in a pretty great spot now, and it seems like we're going to keep it going. Be very careful here. No! Super Meat Boy forced my hand and is making it very difficult for Death's List to work out here. But we learned on the last, or a few episodes ago, Death's List, wow, historically, or at least in recent memory, so the opposite of historically, has been pretty trashed here. Hey, never mind, we got a 0.2 speed upgrade. I'm feeling good. I don't know why entertainment is so, it's weird, okay? Like, let me concoct a situation that I'm sure is very familiar to you guys. I think it says something about the human brain. Like, I don't know if it's just, it's comforting to have other people talking, like it makes you feel like you're safer or something like that. That's my, like, pet theory about it. But last night, I was playing Slay the Spire, and I was like, this is kind of boring. So I put on a stream in the background, literally paid, like, no attention to what the stream was saying at all, didn't pay attention to the game whatsoever. Couldn't tell you what they were talking about. But I was like, oh, this is better. This is just way better. I don't know how to explain it. And I'm fully aware, by the way, I'm like, I wouldn't call it biting the hand that feeds necessarily, but probably a lot of people right now are in like the same boat. Like, you got me up on your right monitor. Not you, Jeffrey. I know I'm up on your left monitor. And I always like to throw in one of those to just run the risk of freaking some people out. And honestly, if your name's Jeffrey, you deserve it. Now. But you know, you're doing your homework or something like that. And you're like, I can't do my homework. I don't even have NL on right now. And then you put me on, and you probably couldn't, I mean, I'm not saying nobody's listening, but, you know, you probably couldn't tell me, like, 20% of what I've been saying. And it's been fire over the course of this entire episode. But it just feels nicer, right? It just feels more comfortable to have somebody talking. I don't know what it is. It's like, it harkens back, you know, when I was like a kid. Going to bed when you're a kid, you know, it's scary sometimes. I think every kid had, like, something they were afraid of for a period of their life. The best time to go to bed was when you could still hear, like, a light murmur coming from the dining room. Like, maybe it's a family gathering or something like that. And you're like, I'm gonna sleep so soundly. Because, like, the purveyors of all of my genes are out there, ready to, like, fight off a saber-toothed tiger attack if necessary. That was when I slept the soundest. Now it's weird as an adult. It's like the exact opposite. Like, if anything keeps me up now, I'm like, hey, shut up. I need to get 7 hours of sleep minimum so that I have the energy and, you know, ATP delivery required to fight off a saber-toothed tiger. So, how sleep changes when you get a little older. What the heck was that? Hey! I don't need those bombs. Bombs are for cowards. Unnecessary. So I understand. I'm background noise for a lot of people. Dude, here's the thing. You might think that, like, oh, don't look down on yourself like that. I don't look down on it at all, because I have preferred sources of background noise as well. Like, I've been giving you the lawful good approach so far, but the thing is, like, you know, there's times where I put a streamer on. Maybe I've never watched their show before. Maybe they're a close personal friend. And then, you know, 5 minutes into the stream, they say something, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. I turn them off, put on something else. You know, you gotta find just the right background noise. It's not enough to just have anything. It's gotta be something that's worth not listening to. There's good branding in there somewhere. It's like Northernlion, content that's just good enough to be on your other monitor. I mean, again, this is why you should trust me over some other content creators. I make content that is engaging for me, and I can't believe that bomb made it all the way down here. Like I make it under the guise, or the assumption I should say, of like, I want people to be actively entertained. But also at the same time, if somebody was like, I pay full rapt attention to you, all of the programs and videos that you make on a daily basis, I'd be like, dude, that's like the most flattering thing I've ever heard. Have you ever considered putting me up on the right monitor while also doing something else? I'm not even saying productive, but something else on the middle monitor? You can get like 80% of the entertainment, but also get 100% of the entertainment from something else.
Lemon party.
YouTuber ungrateful about no, it's not like that. I am very happy when people watch, respect my content, of course. However, you know, I'll be the first to tell you that, you know, if you're watching every single one of these videos, you know, hanging on bated breath with my every word, you know, there's probably a better use of your focus. Just put me on in the right monitor. Put your kid in the crib. Turn on the video as a soothing, dulcet tones that'll put them to sleep. You see it? Ooh, have a good night, baby. Ooh, get some sleep, newborn baby. You're gonna be an adult one day. It's a high note, y'all. It's hard to get, okay? Ooh. I should not have stood still. You know, I'm also recognizing, and this has been a theme in other pieces of media, including the upcoming Us, but as I get older, I'm re-examining my relationship with hip-hop. And the song in particular that I'm thinking of right now is It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube. A very classic slice of life that definitely did not happen, and that's okay. But, I mean, I hope it didn't happen for Ice Cube's sake, and we'll get into that in a second here. But, you know, I think I will. No, you know what? We don't need Blue Candle. I think we're way better off like this. Lusty Blood is huge. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kind of odd. No barking from the dog. No smog. And Mama cooked a breakfast with no hog. That's a line that trips a lot of people up, but this is when Ice Cube was dabbling in the Islamic faith. I got my grub on, but didn't pig out. Finally got a call from a yada yada yada. Here's what I don't like. After the girl he'd been trying to boink since the 12th grade, you know, it's ironic. I had the boost, she had the chronic. The Lakers beat the Supersonics. Rip. F in chat, please. He says Dropped her off around 1. She didn't hesitate to call Ice Cube the top gun. Drove her to the pad and I'm coasting. Took another sip of the potion. Hit the 3-wheel motion. This is one of those things that as I get older and become more like the patriarch of the Beaver family, or the Cleaver family from Leave It to Beaver. You had me, Ice Cube. You had me with the song. A little taste of what it might have been like to have a great day in South Central Los Angeles while surrounded by the anti-community sentiment, the LA riots, Rodney King, etc., etc. Why did you have to throw that complication into the third act? Because if you're not familiar with what a potion is, Ice Cube is admitting not only to drunk driving, but to drinking whilst driving. You might say, well, you know, it's not good, but maybe he only had like 1 drink just to relax him. Later on, drunk as hell, but no throwing up. Halfway home, and my pager's still blowing up. Ice Cube, this is a bad example. Great song! Anyway, I wish I gave more time for that bit, but thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you think the like button helps out a great deal, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!